Hello everyone. 7:19 a.m. I'm speechless. Haha. No, of course I'm not speechless. I'm just gathering my thoughts. I'm basically... life is good. Zen teaching is one of the most exciting and fun types of learning about the world. And at the same time, it's very dry and there's a lot of humor involved in it. And not taking the world too seriously. And this morning I was thinking, I've never heard of anyone saying, well, I used to be a Buddhist, but then I realized that I was being lied to. Because that doesn't happen, because there is no lie to tell. The story of the Buddha is not a story of a religious icon. Let me give you an example. There's an old, in Buddhism, there are a lot of stories. I wouldn't say they're parables. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but they're funny little stories. Now, one I'd like to share with you is a man's wandering around through the mountains at night, and he's cold, he's tired, he's hungry, and he has nowhere to sleep. And he comes across a Buddhist temple. So he goes inside, and nobody's there. So he goes up to the altar, and he pulls down the giant wooden Buddha statue, cuts it up into a bunch of pieces, and makes a fire. The next morning, the attendant comes up, opens up the building and sees what has happened. He sees the man laying there curled up by a pile of ashes. And he says, "What have you done?" And the man looks around. He's like, "What do you mean?" He says, "You burned the Buddha." And he goes, "Oh." And he starts digging around in the ashes. The man who was sleeping there starts digging around through the ashes. And the attendant asks him, "What are you looking for?" And he says, "I'm looking for..." Now the term I'm looking for is, I believe, sattva. I can't remember the actual name for it. But when a Buddha dies, a real Buddha, an incarnated Buddha, they burn him as an effigy and sift through the ashes, and they will find these little pearls. And these little pearls will tell a story about where the next Buddha is, the story of the existing Buddha. So the man says, "You burned the Buddha." And he says, "Oh." He starts digging around through the ashes looking for the little pearls. He says, "What are you looking for?" He says, "I'm looking for the pearls, the signs." And he says, "You won't find those in there. Those only work for the living Buddhas." And he said, "Oh, well then give me that other Buddha statue to burn. I'm cold." That one is, one of my favorites because it's humorized. It's putting a humorous twist on these attachments we have to physical representations of what we believe. If a man burned a Buddha, a real Buddhist would understand the symbolism. If a man burned a cross, it's a different story. I'm not comparing religions here. I'm saying that the idea of Zen is to kind of laugh away the world as being what it is. And you could spend a long time researching and learning to become a member of a particular group. You can try to move through degrees and become top dog in whatever belief system you have. But ultimately, in the end, you're stuck with yourself, with your necklace of jewels, your DNA, your individual strand that you wear. And this is why I like Zen. It's because They understand the answer to the question cannot be found by simply thinking about it, nor can it be found by researching it. And to a certain degree, it will never be found. What it's about is taking life lightly, but realizing how important everything really is to one another, seeing the connections. A lot of folks who have become involved in Zen teaching, I should say all people who have become involved in Zen teaching, quickly learn that there are no teachings. If you go to a Zen master and say, "Teach me what you know," he'll look at you like you're crazy. Like, what can I teach you? You know, they will show you some examples and give you some little humorous life jokes, but as far as actually teaching you anything specific or having a doctrine or a teaching, that doesn't exist. So people have come to Zen monasteries and said, "I want to learn." And they say, "Well, we don't teach, we experience." And for some folks, that philosophy doesn't work too well because they want answers. They want it explained to them. Everything explained to them. I've found that folks don't want to have any mysteries in their life. They enjoy the mysteries, but they want the answers eventually, and they get frustrated and say, "Oh, right, well, I want to know the truth now so I can move on." As if there's some structure of learning in life that you can get to the pinnacle of knowledge and be content. Now, when I look at learning, knowledge, experience, I don't see it as the kind of thing that people that people ever overcome or conquer. It's life is a learning experience. It's kind of like money. If you had all the money you needed, all of a sudden money doesn't become an issue anymore. And then pretty soon money becomes boring. Same with knowledge. The more you know, the harder it can be sometimes to live. When I do videos about these subjects, although I do go around back and forth among a lot of things, and I tend to ramble a lot, I hold back on a lot of things that I'd like to say, I guess, not because I don't want to be ridiculed, but because that is Zen, right there. In another lifetime, I would have been frustrated and say, "Oh, it interrupted me." Let me give you an example of where I'm coming from here. In the morning, when I wake up sometimes, because you have the morning mind, the morning humanity, it's totally different than the evening mind. When I wake up with the morning mind, sometimes my first thought is, "Oh geez, why do I even make videos? What a waste of time." And I tell myself, you know, I'm making these YouTube videos, but at the same time I have absolutely really nothing I'm trying to attain, no goal I'm trying to reach. I'm not trying to get anybody to confirm what I say or to understand or confirm what anybody else says. I'm just learning through experience. But sometimes I think, God, I just rambled on and on and on for a half an hour about some stupid subject. I can't believe I did that. I need to stop doing these dumb videos. It's a waste of time. And then I get up, I get dressed, I get ready, I go to work. Here I am, sitting down making another video. And this cycle in my life is the cycle of mental rebirth, and I embrace it. This is something that happens every time you get sick and then you get better. This is something that happens every time you, I should say, indulge in something that not necessarily is harmful, but when you could be doing other things or accomplishing things that you should be doing, to be able to just laugh at that and learn from it and just be. And that's the way I live my life, and that's the way I like it. It's a constant mission to find the next thing. But that's it. When I started making this video and talking about Zen, and I totally end up missing the point. The entire point of making this video was to say, and I'm glad I remembered, was that the next thing isn't always so great. That searching for the next thing, the next fix, has become the addiction of mankind. What can I learn now? What can I do now? For some people it's, who can I hurt now? For some people it's, what can I have now? But it's always the next thing. And to be able to let those things go, to not be trying to climb a ladder to attain some lofty goal, and especially not when that goal is recognition. If your goal is to improve humanity or to help those around you, go for it. But everyone looks inside to see, are my motives selfish? Or are they truly in the nature of helping man? Do I need recognition for what I'm doing? A good example is when people make a donation to a church or a hospital, whatever it may be, and then they go around telling all their friends about it. Oh, I donated money to this company. I donated money. I donated money. And then they want their name to be recognized on the plaque of people who donated. To me, that's not a donation. That is buying recognition. And in the same way with Zen, compared to other religions, let's say Zen isn't a religion, but let's say to other belief systems, there's nothing to prove to anyone. There's no Zen master that says, my little story about frogs is much deeper than yours. Whereas in a lot of belief systems, the different pastors or different preachers, they all they fit in a structure, a hierarchical structure, that they know more because they've been there longer or they have a higher status. The biggest difference between Zen and religion is that Zen does nothing more than opens your mind up to who you really are and allows you to experience life through your own eyes in your own way. Whereas many belief systems have a doctrine, a book, something you read, something you learn so you can understand. So others are studying why we're here, and Zen is studying what to do while we're here. And that's my big issue with beliefs that don't assist mankind unless they're involved in that belief, or beliefs that don't help people unless they're part of that belief. And I believe that the goal of Buddhism is happiness for all, but no illusion of an eternal paradise where everything's perfect. Because you ask yourself, where would you want to spend eternity? And many people would say, well, with my family and friends. Now, how much time do you want to spend with your family? If you spend 40, 50 years with your family here on earth, do you want to spend eternity with them in another realm? To each their own, I guess, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than just immediate family. We need to be recycled and put back here to finish what we started. So, off I go. Namaste. Everyone have a great day.